tuning in to the online broadcast network, AfterBuzz TV. Over 20 million weekly downloads from over 200 countries and your #1 source in after-show entertainment. AfterBuzz TV, the destination for TV superfans, producing after-shows for over 300 of your favorite TV shows, interviewing celebrities and showrunners, and bringing you behind-the-scenes exclusives. All thanks to E! Entertainment's Maria Menounos, producer Kevin Undergaro, and internet leader Akamai. Now, let the buzz begin!
You're probably wondering why we're starting off the show for Broadway music, but that is because it is again AfterBuzz TV Extreme Weight Loss. You have to wait for it.
Someone stood up in a crowd.
You gotta love it. Not what we were going for, but it is Extreme Weight Loss AfterBuzz TV show, and it is Rod edition, and we had to start off with Broadway because he is Mr. Broadway man himself.
Did you just say Broadway?
I didn't, but it's going to be #Broadway. That's what today's episode is. I am your host, Morgan Martin.
Hi, everybody. I am Jackie Powell.
She is back. Let's give it up for Jackie. She just got married.
Woo! It's good to be back, though.
Great. We missed you.
I enjoyed my honeymoon and everything, but it's good to be back at AfterBuzz, my home. And I'm glad to be back. I was waiting for the cellophane to drop. Like, yeah, I just wanted to say, Mr. Cellophane.
Rod was amazing. Every week, everybody knows I fall in love with a new person. And today, I fell in love with Rod.
Rod was
who
awesome.
Had the most amazing smile and laugh ever in the history of America.
No, his laugh was very contagious, very infectious. I was just smiling the whole time I watched the whole episode. I was literally just smiling, and I squealed a little bit. I was like, oh, because he was so much fun to watch. He had such a great spirit, and that laugh was just like, I want to mimic it, but I don't know if I really can.
Yeah. I can't wait to hear from where maybe having him call in today, so we'll get a chance to ask Rod some questions. But before we actually get him on the line, let's just dive into a little bit about him. He's a drama teacher, and he kind of talked about kind of having, which I think is typical of drama, you know, having those two sides. So there was Rod, this happy-go-lucky, you know, like that guy. He said it was like he was just that guy. He smiled, he laughed, he joked. Yeah. Everybody loved him. And then he would go home, and it would be like one side, you know, just completely different.
Yeah, it was kind of crazy to see. So he called himself the Mask Rod. So everybody thought he was funny. He teaches these classes. He does acting. And he's kind of like the funny guy. And then when you get home, when he walks in, you just see like this depressed man, clothes everywhere. His room was a disaster, and he just looked completely sad. It was like two different personalities.
And something tells me, like, deep down, he probably isn't even like a messy person. It's just like when you come home and you just don't care. Yeah. It's just like everything just goes, you know?
Yeah, absolutely. It was crazy to see because he was like the light of the school, kind of. Everybody knew him. He had so many friends. So it was kind of crazy to see that he felt so lonely when he came home, because he has a lot of friends and family where he works at, but that wasn't the case behind the scenes.
Yeah, and I mean, you can tell he has a lot of responsibilities at home. Like, his mom had a stroke, so obviously dealing with that, and then his dad having health complications as well. And his parents are so sweet. Like, you can tell how supportive they are, but I know that's also straining when you have to take care of two people also.
Yeah, I thought it was really cool that the show right off the bat kind of confronted something that had been shackling him for so long. Yeah. He came out to his father that he was gay. Yeah. His mom knew. He told his mom about 5 years ago. Yeah. And for the first time, he was 49 years old, and he knew in college that he was gay. But for the first time on TV, 49 years old, he told his dad that he was gay. And I was very happy and pleased the way his dad kind of responded. He was just like, son, I love you today just as much as I loved you before. And you could tell just by his response when his father kind of just was like, I love you. He was just super happy, and I was so grateful for that moment.
Absolutely. But you know what? We're grateful for that moment, but you know who I want to hear from? I want to hear from Rod himself.
Is Rod
we actually have him on the line.
I can hear it.
Wait a minute. Can you please do it one more time? I love it.
How are you guys doing?
Rod, you don't even have to talk. Just continue to laugh through the whole interview, and I'll be happy, one happy gal.
I need to stop. It's like an affliction. I can't help it.
We love it. How are you doing? I mean, we were actually just talking
I'm
about.
You know, I'm tired here in Tallahassee. It's 1:17 a.m. But I'm so happy to talk to you guys. I love the show. I loved my show. I couldn't be happier. I'm just on cloud nine right now.
Absolutely. How was it watching your episode? Were you with family and friends? What was it like, seeing yourself?
We had a viewing party, and there were about 120 people that were all kind of watching it. Yeah, it was pretty cool. And it's really odd to see yourself, to watch yourself. I went through it, and some of it was immediate, like I felt like I was there in that place again. And then some of it was just me kind of watching myself, because you don't see yourself. You look in the mirror sometimes, you don't see yourself like on this. Right. And I could see the progression, and I could see, this is going to sound whatever, but I'm like, oh, I look good. Like I can see, I'm like, that's a good color for me. I like that smile, or oh, I look good at the end. So it was awesome, and I was very thankful. I had a great producer, Melissa Galvin, who actually went to Florida State, so I feel like she's my homegirl. And she just knew me. She just knows me. So I could not, you guys, be happier. That was my story that I got to tell, and there was a lot of me and a lot of Chris, and that man is as my father says, heaven sent. He and his wife, and so it was great.
Yeah. Speaking of your father, I mean, that's what we were just talking about. It was so, inspiring. And I know even looking at the tweets and the Instagram post of, that moment with your dad, like coming out to him for the first time. Yeah. What was that like for you?
It was one of the, I said this on the show, all of my events of my life happened when I was 49 and 50 because of this show. Yeah. I will tell you guys that my dad is the man that I love the most. My father was and is a great father. He retired military, and he ran the Secretary of Corrections for the state of Florida under 2 governors. He's a great man. And I just had never really been truly authentic with him. Yeah. He or my brother. I told the women in my family years before I told the men. So to be able to finally have the nerve to say it to him, but I needed to say it to him because I feel like maybe some of the weight was connected to that, you know what I mean? Yeah. And so to be able to say it to him, and his reaction was brilliant. That's my dad. And I will tell you guys, when that happened, the weight fell off. The weight fell off because I could be who I was with one of the people that I loved the most. I'm not one who will ever tell you that I don't care what people think, but I didn't care. I don't care. That's that's a part of who I am. It's an important part of who I am. It's not all of who I am, but I don't want to downplay it anymore, and I don't want to hide it anymore. And my dad was awesome, I thought. You can tell that he loves me, and I should have known that from the beginning. One time I asked him, I said, should I have told you earlier? Did I waste like 20, 25 years? He said, I don't know, buddy. He calls me buddy. He said, I don't know, buddy. I don't know if I was the same man back then. I'd evolved too. And I'm like, okay, that's awesome. It was all supposed to happen when it happened.
Oh, that's awesome. You could totally tell when watching the episode that it did lift off a lot of weight for you. Your eyes were just like gleaming, with your dad's response, and you looked so happy. So we were really happy about that too. It was a really great moment on the show for me. Yeah. But watching it back, with your party that you had, what was like one moment that you were just like, you forgot about that just really brought light back into you, or a moment where you're just like cringing, kind of like, oh, I don't really want to watch this part?
You know what? There were several. I can tell you. I'm going to try to answer. That's a great question, by the way. You guys are awesome. There were two moments that I was most proud of that that to see them was different than when they happened. They were both physical challenges. One was the color run. Okay. Which I loved how they filmed and cut that. It seemed a little easier. I'm sorry, a little easier doing it than the way it looked on film to me. Do you know what I mean? Mm-hmm. But I remember. I mean, that was all true. Yeah. The other one was the Empire State Building walk-up, which to me, I can remember it being, I just loved how they filmed it because to me, they got that right. The other one of them, the memory was different than the way I saw it. The other one, it was exactly how I remember. I remember on that 54th floor being like, you know what? If I turn around and run down the stairs, I'm a big guy. I can knock somebody over. They can't catch me. I'll get a catch. And then, that went in and out of my head really quick. And then, I just don't know. You got Chris Powell is like, he really is a different kind of a person. He was put on this earth. Yeah. You know what I mean? I don't know. I think we've all said that about him. He just has made it his life's ministry, honestly, to save lives. And so he just knew what to say and when to ask how I was doing. And, it wasn't easy. It was hard for him, too.
Yeah.
And, but we did it, and that was awesome.
Yeah,
I said something. Go ahead, guys. I'm sorry because I talk too much.
No, we want to hear from you. I mean, we've had Chris on the show, and he seems absolutely amazing. And then everybody that comes on, they say the exact same thing about Chris. And what has he like? What's been some of the advice that has really helped you from him the most? That's really when those moments got hard, that really helped just completely just push you through.
Well, I love, there's a couple things that he has. One is you can fall without failing. Because this journey, especially mine, is not linear. It's up and down and up and down and around and up and down. I mean, that's what it is. And so I just remembered that you can fall without failing because in the past, I would have fallen or, stumbled by eating something I shouldn't have or had a bad day. And then I would have just gone, well, forget it, screw it, I'm not doing it, and I would just totally chuck it. You can have a bad meal or a bad day. Right. The next meal, the next day is a new day, and that's something I learned from him. And the other thing was, you guys have probably heard this from all of us, and we're nearing the end of the season. But there really is a truth and a power to keeping your promises to yourself, which is when you tell yourself that you're going to do something, to do it. Right. And sometimes doing it to the no of other people. And I am such a people pleaser and such a person who is aware that I want to do for others. That whenever I got excessive with that would be when I was not successful. And so. So he would call me out on that. You got to remember that this is for you and that kind of thing. Wow. He really is heaven sent. He just I don't know. He just has this thing about him, and you want to do well for him as well as for yourself. And I think he's aware of that because ultimately it comes back to us doing well for us. But he's just a great man, and I am forever changed because of he and his wife, for sure.
No, I totally agree. Every time I watch Chris, I always tell Morgan here, I'm just like, man, like Chris just knows what to say, what to do, and how to respond. And what I really love the most about Chris is that he's so real. When you were at the moment in your transformation where you were struggling a little bit, he knew. And he came to your place, and he was just like, hey, what's up? And you just had that big laugh, But what's awesome about Chris is he confronted it, and I think people do need that within the transformation. And I just kind of want to get in the nitty-gritty. He came into your room, and he was like, what's going on, Is your room clean, Rod? Is it clean? Are you keeping it clean now?
He said it's all right.
Hey, I struggle with the same thing, Rod. I am not a clean person. My room is very messy, so I feel you on that. Just saying. We could be honest with one another here.
I was so ashamed. You said what was one of those things that you saw that I was like, oh my God, somebody's gonna think I'm insane.
Rod, if I had a reality show and they showed my room, I would be embarrassed and I would never show my face ever again. My room is worse than yours, Rod, okay? So we have a bond with that.
No way.
We have a bond there, Rod. I'm not clean either. It's okay.
Well, I'm staying out of both of your rooms. I want no part of that.
But what was interesting was that my life was in disarray at that time. So it was like that was a true reflection of where I was.
Yeah.
So that was interesting. So.
Yeah. Of course, we only get to see, 2 hours of a whole year of your life. Yeah. Was there anything that wasn't shown that you wish would have been a part of your episode?
You know what? Yes, and I'm gonna. You feel so much.
Yeah.
And then there are things that this was brilliant. This was a beautiful use of my words and his words and what we did. I couldn't be happier with this episode. I want to stress that.
That's
but
great.
I did get to go back to my college. The University of Central Florida is where I graduated from, and I was homecoming king there the year that I graduated as a senior. Okay, and I had not gone back there in like 27 years because I started gaining weight and I didn't want anybody to see me like that. But I got to go back. The show sent me back there for the homecoming last October.
That's
and I was
awesome.
on the big jumbotron and I got interviewed, and it just felt so good to not feel embarrassed or feel ashamed and be me. By that time I had come out to Dad and some of my fraternity brothers that I had not told earlier, and all of them were wonderful. I let fear ruin my life, I think, rule my life, and maybe ruin it, which is my friend Richard calls fear false emotions appearing real. And I was just so afraid. So it was a kind of a joyous celebration, and you guys didn't get to see that. But they may put that, sometimes they put some of those things online later, so that would be cool.
Awesome.
That sounds like it was like really liberating. And I like that right from the jump, you were so real about, fear kind of, ruled your life. It was huge. And I think that's a really good message because a lot of people are scared of a lot of things. And your story, you really overcome so many fears. And I just want to kind of jump into, your dream of being on Broadway.
Broadway, that's what we're calling it.
We call it Broadway now. Broadway. Not Broadway. Drop that B, make it Broadway.
Broadway, that's awesome. I'm going to put that on a license plate.
Yes, love it.
But I thought it was so awesome that you tackled that huge, huge dream of yours, and you weren't fearful. Like, you messed up, and then you were like, okay, let me start over. I would have been like, I messed up.
I would have ran off and cried.
But it was so cool to see you up there. Are you doing anything else with acting right now other than still teaching at the school?
Well, you know what? I am still working with the students at the school, the thespians, the acting troupe, which I love, and I have auditioned for several things. I've gotten called back. I have not gotten cast, but that's okay.
Hey, keep going.
Right.
There was a musical called Ragtime that I love.
That's one of my favorites.
I got called back to play Booker T. Washington, and they have a great song. The guy who got it, though, has an amazing, Luther Vandross voice, and mine is not that. but yeah, so
that's awesome to hear.
Yeah. So we're gonna keep. That was you guys. That was that experience I keep in my heart. That I will never forget, and it was awesome. It was awesome.
What I loved about that moment too is you said something that I think is really important. That there's no expiration date on dreams. Like, it's never too late to really dream and to really go after it. I mean, that happened on your 50th birthday. So for many people, it's like, been there, done that. Like, it's over for me. But I think you showed so many people that no matter how old you are, even how young you are, that it's never too late to go after your dream or still keep that alive. And so it was inspiring for me just to even see you up there really living out your dream.
Thank you so much. That I love that you said that. For me too, and I meant that. I think I said it there. I said it at the end of the show, which is that I have never, ever thought that my best years were going to be ahead of me. I always felt like they were behind me in college and in high school. But I know that my best years are ahead of me, and I look forward to the future. And that means truly doing what I love to do. And I used to say my life's calling was teaching. I get these students, they get me. They've kept me young in spirit. I've loved what I do. But I've never forgotten that my personal dream was to be an actor. And I'm still not going to give up on that. And we got some fires in the iron, so we'll see how it goes. Some irons in the fire, some fires in the iron. Look at me. It's late. Sorry guys.
We're with you. And I think even just going back to, I know phase 1, I mean, you were killing it. I mean, you being at boot camp, being with Chris, and obviously having that accountability every single step of the way for every single hour, you exceeded your goal. And then going into phase 2, which I know for everyone is always the hardest, having to go back home. What was that like for you, having to go from all that accountability to now kind of trying to lose all of this weight on your own?
I remember one of the first things I said when I came home after the beautiful 90-day celebration that my school did and all of that was one of the things I realized was the only thing that changed was me. The only thing that changed when I came home was me. Everybody else was still doing what they did before I left, and expecting some of them me to fall back into line.
Yeah.
Right? Including my mom and dad, who I had to put on a schedule. So I was overwhelmed, you know, and I love what you said about accountability. Because I always do better with a boss. It's, you know, some people have intrinsically, they can like motivate themselves. I always do better when I'm accountable. When I don't need to disappoint somebody, or I'm accountable to somebody.
Right.
And I didn't necessarily have that. That's why it was so cool when we got to go to that group.
Yeah.
You know, and I got to talk with those people, and I still meet with group because that is accountable. When my trainer and my friend Kim, who you guys saw on there, I'm accountable to her too. So I think I was missing that component when I first got home. I was unaccountable to anybody but me, and that was my issue in the past. Now, I learned a bunch of stuff at boot camp, tools and strategies and all kinds of awesome information. But at the end of the day, I know what works for me. And what works for me is being accountable. And I love that you said that because I'd forgotten that. So I know that was the challenge, and it still is the challenge for me to be accountable with my actions and what I do. I always do best when I prepare and plan, and sometimes I don't. And when I don't succeed. So
yeah, absolutely. And I think too, I am a huge Carla Hall fan. She is absolutely. When you were like, "That's my girl," I was sitting in there like, "Yes, that is my girl too," because she is amazing.
And I was sitting there saying, "Yes, I'm gonna try that recipe with that chicken and that wheat bread." Are you kidding me?
That's right.
I was like, "Dang, that looks good. I want to try that."
Right, it was awesome. She was awesome. You could feel her spirit.
Yes.
I was shocked. I had no idea she was going to be there, and she's from the South. She gets me. She gets what I love to eat. She was all. I just loved her, and I got a copy of her book, you know, and that helped a lot. And I live alone and by myself, so sometimes it's hard to cook for one.
Yeah.
But when you have a book that's really cool recipes, and you can put these flavors together, which I've done with Carla's book. It was awesome.
I just have to say, I was really jealous when you were eating that chicken. I was like, I really want to try that chicken. It looks so good. Just saying.
Girl, it was so
That's a side
good.
note.
It was so good. It was so good.
Now we have to ask, because we had some of the other guests on the show, and they've shared a little bit about the camaraderie between all you guys, of like the family unit, like over the years. Like,
I know.
Do you have any fun moments?
Yes. You know what? The nature of the show shows each one of us and our stories, which I love, and that's the success of the show. But what you don't get to see is, at least in our season, we fell in love with each other early. When I tell you we depended on each other, we made each other succeed.
Yeah.
There's just something different about these 14 people. We are from all walks of life in all different parts of the country.
Yeah.
But there was never any kind of a competition kind of
That's awesome.
mindset. If anything, we leaned on each other and needed each other to succeed. And so, these people, it's a small, I say it's a small group. I think there were 8 the first season, 8 the second season. There were 13 last season and 14 of us. And so we're the ones who've been through this experience. And these people are my family, David and Bruce.
Yes,
and
Bruce.
Georgiana and Kathy and Brandy and Charita. These are my Kenny and Jace. These are you're gonna meet Jeff and Juliana. These are my people, Kathy and Josh. These people are my family, and I love them. And I could not have done this without them. We were all today texting and Instagramming and calling each other. And they were like, "It's your turn, brother. It's your turn, brother. You've been waiting a long time." It's just been the best. I love them and I miss them. And I'm like, this is the year we ought to do a damn reunion show.
Yes,
people would love to see it, So.
We were talking to Charita not too long ago, and I was telling Charita, I was like, man, like, why wouldn't they have like a reality show with just, be behind the scenes or, following you guys around, or, just a reunion show, just because there has to be so much going on. There's so many people like losing weight, like camaraderie, like the stress of it all, It'd be really awesome to watch everything like that.
Yeah,
so.
It would be huge, and I think the show's doing really well this year, and people seem to be responding to us really well.
Absolutely.
Yeah, go ahead. What were you going to say?
No, I'm saying that's great. We would love to see that.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, we would too. I think we would too, so we'll see. We're throwing it out there, ABC, if you're listening. Thank you.
But real quick, is there anything behind the scenes that happened that you can give us a little scoop on? Like, I don't know, something funny that happened, something bad that happened?
Let me think. That's a great question. Anything behind the scenes that happened that was interesting or that you maybe didn't see? Oh my gosh!
I put you on the spot. I'm sorry.
Was there any kind of like cool gossip? Not really. Not. I think you put. I kind of put it all out there. I don't know how to shut up and.
How about who did you connect with the best on the show?
That's always a dangerous question because people are watching.
You're like, am I going to get you in trouble with somebody?
My best friend, whatever. I am that guy that connected. This is such a boring answer. I connected with everybody.
I believe that.
So that's totally you. It's totally you.
Right. I mean, that is me. I think I was that guy that everybody just kind of responded well to. But I will tell you that Bruce Pitcher has a special place in my heart, as he does with all of us. Mm-hmm. Bruce was our leader in many ways, and he's just a special soul. And I call him that boy because I'm 50 and he's like 29 or 30. But I love that man. He's just a special guy. But I love all those guys. David, we call it the Four Horsemen and the Godfather. David, me, Bruce, and Jace.
That's awesome.
We just got along really well. So, but I love
do you
all of
say
them. My
that,
girls,
let's get freaking pumped?
I call him. You guys will meet Jeff. I call him Uncle Jeffy and his daughter. I loved everybody. I loved everybody.
That's awesome.
And I love you guys. And thanks for having me on.
And us too.
Go on and on. You guys need to be like, okay, we're good with you.
No, we could talk to you for. I do have to ask though. Going into the last part, you did miss obviously hitting the weight for the skin removal but what I loved about it is like you could tell like yes, disappointment, but it was like, but this is only the beginning. So like where are you now? Were you able to still continue and get to where you really wanted to be?
I love that too. I remember that was a moment that I forgot I said. I forgot. The finale was such an emotional kind of thing that it kind of went fast,
Right.
So to see that was cool. I am still working on getting to where I want to be.
Yeah.
And I don't know if I'll ever be like, oh, this is it. I'm here. I don't want that to be.
Right.
Because I feel like that means I'm not a quitter. What I learned about myself this year is that I'm a fighter. Yeah. And I always want to fight for it. I always want to challenge myself. So I don't know if I want to say, oh, I reached that goal, now I'm ready, I'm done.
Right.
I would love to have that skin surgery. I know that it was hard, you guys. If I can be candid, it was hard hearing. That was the point for me that things changed in my head, and I had to get my head together because we worked hard, all of us. But I was the heaviest, and I worked hard and got to a percentage that I was told to get to, and then not just yet. You got 35 more to lose, and I was like, it was devastating.
It'd be frustrating.
Yeah, and so it could have fired me up like he said, but for me, it was the other thing. It kind of got me back into a bad place, and I was envious, and I found myself those kind of feelings that I don't ever have, for other people that I love. But I was human, and I was pissed, and so we're still working on it. I have a great trainer. I love my gym. That the show actually introduced me to with Kim, and we're working hard, So I'm gonna get there.
We know you are, and I appreciate you just being. And that's one of the things that I really appreciated about just your whole show was that you were very true, and you said it yourself. Like it was important for you to be true and to be authentic, and I fully felt that from the top, and even now, because the reality is that. It's not an easy thing to lose as much weight as you all do, and everybody has their different struggles. And I know for you, even the balance between muscle versus fat and that weight carries differently, and all these different things. Go ahead.
I was going to say, I think I'm the only one I hope I'm not giving something away, but I think I'm the only one of all of us that didn't make, at the finale, didn't make their goal weight. I'm not sure about Jeff and Juliana, who happened next week. I can't remember, but everybody else made it. Everybody else made the weight they were supposed to, and I did not. But you know what? There was no shame in that for me because I don't know. I just feel like people can relate to somebody who doesn't always win. You know, it wasn't always. You know, I made my phase 1 goal. I made my phase 3 goal, but I didn't make my phase 2 or 4, and that's just how it went. You know. So.
And Morgan always says, like on the show, she's like, I kind of get upset when they like get mad about them not meeting their quota or whatever. It's like at the end of the day, they lose all this weight. So I think it's so cool that you said, you know what, I didn't meet my quota, but hey, I did lose 188 pounds.
88 pounds. I lost a big person.
Yeah. So you know what? It's so funny because Morgan, every episode, she's like, I just don't understand why they make a big deal about these, you know, phases. Like, I'm sorry I lost 100 pounds, but I didn't make the mark, you know? But I think it's totally cool that you're just like, hey, like, you know, I didn't, but I lost 188 pounds. Did anybody notice that? So
that's not a, you know, I didn't fail. I just didn't make that number. I'm good.
Right.
Yeah.
You know, so. Yeah.
Did you actually get the opportunity to, because I know you got to, they gave you the certificate to go back to the wellness center for a week. Were you able to do that and get some tools to kind of help guide you along the way?
Well, it hasn't happened yet. It happens in October. It happens in October. I don't think it happens in October.
Gotcha. Okay.
So it's about to happen, and we're trying to make it happen. We took a lot of you know, I teach school, and I took 23 weeks off last year to do this. Because I needed it. It was about me. And my school was very, very supportive.
That's awesome.
But I have to rebuild some of those relationships too and get kind again. But you know, Destination Boot Camp is an awesome kind of experience. This is nothing but a positive to be able to do. And Dr. Holly White and those people at the Answers are like lifesavers, you know? And so I want to do it. So we're working hard, ladies, to make sure that I can. I hope so.
Aww. So where are you now? I mean, what can we expect from Rodway, and what's going on for you right now?
Well, I got certified to teach with a TRX suspension trainer, which is
I love
kind
TRX.
of a piece of equipment that you can use your own body weight to do things. And so I began teaching classes at Sweat Therapy, which is my gym with Kim.
So cool.
In about, I think 2 weeks, which I love. You guys, and I want to reach my young people. I want to reach those kids who are obese or big. I have a great relationship with young people, and I really want to do something that can, I don't want them to go around for 2.5 decades like I did, you know, obese and unhappy and not loving themselves and not understanding that exercise can be fun and that they're kids, they're going to want to eat crap, but they can find healthier crap than other health, you know, to have good choices. But more than anything, I always say this, I think we all have. The transformation is not about the weight. The weight fell off when I was able to be authentic, and you can buy a book and understand the science of what your body does and drop pounds in a minute, but you can't do any of that. You can't do any of that unless you change your head and your heart. Yeah. And that's what I want to reach these kids and let them know you are beautiful just the way you are. Of course, you can make improvements, but don't let anybody make you feel like you're not. You know, you have to remember who you are. And that God put you on this earth to, you know, to connect and to be beautiful and to love yourself. Those self-help words are the truth. They are the truth. Nothing, you know, all the pain comes from, I think, some kind of internal thing. And I don't want those kids to suffer. They don't need to be 50 years old before they realize it. They need to do it when they're 18. So I don't know if it means I'm going to get a talk show or do something with them, but I gotta reach them. So I'm going to.
I love it.
Absolutely.
Broadway.
I was going to ask you what your piece of advice to give, but I mean, you just said it all just now, and I hope that everybody that is listening is inspired by you, because I know that we have been watching your entire episode.
Thanks so much. This has been a pleasure. And I'm very honored that you guys would allow me to come on. This is a great show. I will have watched all of them, and
such a pleasure to have you on.
Really quite proud of that show, and I'm very, very happy. So thank you so much.
Can we leave with the song, please? Mr. Cellophane, can we leave you with the song? Can you sing off? Can we sign you off with the?
You want me to sing it?
Yeah. I'll give you a beat.
We'll just do the chorus.
Yeah.
Cellophane, Mr. Cellophane, could have been my name, Mr. Cellophane, 'cause you can look right through me. walk right by me and never know I'm there. Okay.
That's Rod Way for you. Rod, thank you so much for calling in.
You are so awesome. Have a good night. Get some good rest. Thanks for talking to us for so late.
Good night. Bye-bye.
Bye, Rod.
Yep, falling in love with everybody all over again. I love him.
Can we just have the reunion here at AfterBuzz? Like, just bring everybody here out to LA. Just and have the we'll host the reunion for you guys.
Absolutely.
Here at AfterBuzz.
I mean, like I said, what I love about Rod is he's so real, he's so authentic, and he's like, look, this is what it is. These were my struggles. I'm not going to try to hide it or cover it up or mask it. And I think people need to see that. Yeah,
I think it's really important because the way he was so truthful about it and just kind of like laid it bare, I just felt like it was no faking. Like for me, you know, you want to kind of cover it up if you're doing bad or you go to another outlet. I just feel with him the whole time, like, it was a part of his process. He had to be real in order to get through the transformation. I really appreciate that about him. Yeah. It's like, hey, you know, I'm not doing well, and I'm going back and forth, and I like that because it's real life. And because I think, I mean, when we talk about it every week, it's, yes, of course, they go through this transformations where they lose all this weight. There's always something that's like that block or the reason that the weight is there. And I think for him, it was not being authentic. It was the fact that, you know, for so long, he was so much for so many people, but never enough for himself. And so there was always those two sides, and you could slowly start to see the two sides becoming one, and you really got to see who Rod was. And I think that was really important. Yeah, I totally agree with what you said, because throughout the show it was like kind of him wavering back and forth, and that's kind of how you saw when he would be not doing so well in his transformation. It was like going back to his old self, and it was like teeter-totter, but it finally was like starting to align together. Yeah. So I think it was like such a great transformation. I think that's a trap sometimes too, of just even acting in general. Sometimes, you know, you're so much about being on and performing and this and that and being a whole different person that if you're not careful, you can easily lose, you know, who you really are. Oh yeah, but speaking of acting, Chris Powell, God bless you, but I am so glad you're a trainer because you and that mustache. I thought you looked good. Chris, we love you. Well, it was a good thing that they didn't play out a whole scene, but it was cool to see him get on there with the mustache and stuff. But we'll leave it to Rod. We'll leave it to Rod. Chris acted. He danced during the color run. I was impressed by Chris. Yeah, Chris. This episode, he was stepping out of the comfort zone. It was a great episode. But I mean, all in all, I mean, yes, Rod did not hit his goal, but he started off 448 pounds. He said himself he was the largest, you know, of the season. Right. And he got down to 260 pounds. So he lost 188 pounds, which is really incredible. And he looked so good. Yeah. And you could tell throughout the whole thing, like he was changing his positive energy. He looked awesome. Yeah. I thought he looked really great. You could see it within the first phase, how much he had, you know, changed. And his transformation was truly great. Yeah, he didn't make his goals, but he looked awesome. So I'm interested to see. Hopefully they'll, you know, bring him back, or either do like a What's Up with Rod in season 6 or something, just so that we can kind of follow like his progress and just kind of see what things are going on with him. Yeah, with all of them. Yeah, we want a reunion show. And we want it now, and we want it here at AfterBuzz TV. Shameless plug. But Rod is amazing. I just have a feeling that, you know, he's going to, especially going back to boot camp and getting those tools that he needs to really, like, get back on track. I know that he's going to get to where he needs to be to get that skin removal surgery. Yeah, and it was good to hear that he's saying that he's still going to these support groups and stuff, because that's what we obviously said. Support is a huge thing in order to reach your goals and that accountability. So now he has the Kim at the gym that he goes to. He is continuing going to the support group. So I feel like it's just, you know, it's a new lifestyle for him, and it's going to take some time, and he's taking all the right steps in order to make it happen. So I'm Team Rod. I know Rod's going to make it. And I really hope he gets the skin surgery because he deserves it. Absolutely. He definitely deserves it. He's worked really hard. He has. He walked up how many flights of stairs? 62? Is it 62? Something like that?
Something ridiculous.
Anybody that walks up that many stairs deserves skin surgery.
Deserves a lot, because I can't walk up 5.
Jeez.
But Rod's amazing, and I know that he is going to just continue to just blow it out the water. And if nothing else, like he said, for him it's so much more than it's, yes, helping himself, but helping himself so he can help and inspire other people. And he is totally doing that. So thank you so much, Rod.
We love you, Rod.
But let's go into next week, because we have a duo and getting into some predictions.
Yes. I was really glad to see.
And now, your AfterBuzz TV predictions.
My favorites.
I was really glad to see that it's going to be a duo again, a father and a daughter, because last time we had Kathy and Josh.
Love Mama Kathy.
Mama Kathy. And it was really awesome to see a mom and a son do the transformation together. And I think, you know, just watching their story, Kathy had a lot to do with her son's gaining weight.
Yeah.
So I think I just like to see this transformation, because I think when it comes to family like that, it has a lot to do with, you know, the parenting and whatever happened in their lives. And it's just really cool to see them work together and just break through all that past stuff and really start a new life together. So I'm excited.
And I'm excited because I'm a huge football fan, and we have some big football stars. Terrell Davis is going to be on the show, so anytime I can get some extra football, I'm all about it.
I think it's going to be a good episode.
So who do you think's going to, do you think they're both going to make it? Do you think they're going to hold each other back? What do you think for next week?
You know, like I said last time, I was like, I don't know. You know, when you have a kid, sometimes they complain a little bit. And I don't know, maybe... I'm hoping that it's going to be great. She's going to be a daddy's girl. This is my own, like, vision that's coming in my head. She's going to be a daddy's girl, and the dad's going to be like, yeah, let's lose this weight. She's like, yeah, Dad, I love you. And it's going to be awesome. I think nobody's going to hold anybody back. I think they're going to rise to the top. That's my prediction.
I like that. I think that she's actually going to motivate the dad more than the dad's going to motivate her. Just going a little opposite. We'll see.
She always wants to challenge me.
All right, absolutely. But make sure you guys tune in next week for next week's edition of AfterBuzz TV Extreme Weight Loss. I am your host, Morgan Martin. You can find me on Twitter and Instagram at ms_Morgan Martin.
And I'm Jackie Powell. You can find me on Twitter at Jackie with 2 E's _ POW, or on Instagram at Jackie1E _ POW. Thank you guys so much for watching.
Thanks,
we'll see you guys next week.
From executive producers Maria Menounos, Kevin Undergaro, Phil Svitek, and the entire AfterBuzz TV staff, we would like to thank you for listening to the AfterBuzz TV network. To watch or listen to other after shows and post comments or questions, be sure to visit AfterBuzzTV.com. I'm Sir Richard Wentworth, and this has been a presentation of AfterBuzz TV.
Buzz you later.
The views expressed herein are those of the hosts only and do not necessarily reflect the views of AfterBuzz TV or its owners or principals.